story gets worse. Bear with me. In the days following, things went from bad to worse. I don't know if you know, but this nation has been very hardly hit in the last 3 years with hurricanes. They're very vulnerable. Even their croplands were washed away and not destroyed. It went from bad to worse. His sisters lost weight and were frail. They could not play as they used to. The baby was getting smaller and smaller, and his bones began to show. Simon, too, was getting weaker. It was harder for him to carry the heavy load of water and wood. It was more difficult for him to work all day without food and come home to hardly nothing. The story worsens. As a few more days went by, his mother was more and more depressed. She now spent her days begging on the streets. I saw on TV just this last week in another report, not from this missionary. I saw a little makeshift chapel there where there was a great number of little children on their knees begging and praying to God for some food because they were starving. And so the mother was begging on the streets in order to buy a little bit of food. One morning, she went to her neighbor to see if she could borrow some money. When she came back into the hut, she said, "Simon, tomorrow, you and I are going to take a trip. And when we do this, we will have plenty of food." Simon was excited. He had never been to a large town, nor ridden on the tap-tap. That's the Haitian public transportation system. As in 1990, they had only 50 miles of railroad in that country. Most of that went to the plantations where rice was grown. He was excited, but that night he couldn't sleep. Again, he dreamed the bad dream. He dreamed that his mother gave him to a man who put money in his mother's hand. Then she walked away. The next morning, his mother woke him at 4 o'clock, before the sun had come up. "Get dressed quickly," she said. Fumbling in the dark, he found his sandals and went outside to wash his face. The sun was beginning to come up. What page? They walked quickly down the path that led to Main Street and waited for the tap-tap. They climbed on and squeezed inside with the others. Simon sat on one side, his mother opposite him. The truck drove away, leaving his village far behind. They rode for hours, picking up people and letting people off. Simon was hungry, tired, and scared. He would look at his mother, who would glance down at the floor of the tap-tap. Soon tears began to swell up in his eyes and his chest began to pound. 8 years old. 500 miles south of where you live, if you live in America. The tap-tap stopped in a town in far northwestern part of Haiti. They got off and his mother took Simon by the hand. They walked several blocks down the street until they came to a certain dirty, dilapidated building. A big tall man with dark glasses was waiting outside. His mother said, "I am Madame Pierre, and this is my son Simon." The man says, "Can he work from sun up to sundown?" His mother said. "Good," said the man, and he handed her some money. With that, she put Simon's hand in his. Then she took out a small brown burlap sack, and she gave it to her son. She said, "I'm sorry. And she walked away. Simon stood there with the man tightly clutching the small hand. Tears were streaming down his face. His heart was pounding and he was afraid. He wanted to cry out to his mother, but he knew he could not. Simon had just become a man. He knew what he would have to do. He would have to work for the money that was given to his mother, the money that would feed his family, his sisters, and his baby brother. He watched as his mother disappeared into the crowd of thousands of people. He knew she was going home, and he would never see her again. Simon carefully untied the little string and opened the sack. It was rice. He knew it was his mother's love gift to him. And then the missionary says, as he picked this story up, it's a true story. We don't know where Simon is right now, or what he's doing, or who he's with. But they have picked up his family, and they have added them to their feeding program. The Catholic priest said, from Luke chapter 16, that illustration, he said, America is the rich man, and the impoverished nation of this world are the beggar. I'd just like to give you 2 or 3 points, and I'm going to try to close. In this time of decline, in this time we could consider loss, or maybe what you're going through today, maybe some kind of a handicap or some kind of a problem. Remember Joni Eareckson taught. Let me give you some good advice. Don't be so quick to be a complainer. Number 2, be thankful. Because we don't know what God's doing, and we don't know what the future is of this land. But this we know, He has chosen to bless us more than any nation in existence. And number 3, this is a reminder, if God has blessed you, share a little bit with the hungry. I would like to give you some good advice as a pastor in the country of America. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. While our musicians come, the land of plenty. The land of plenty. Despite the problems of our time and in your life, handicaps and things that disturb you and hurt you, let me ask you to serve Christ with joy. Can you do that today? Can you serve Christ with joy? It is hard for us that live here to imagine a world such as this. We have some people in our church, and last Sunday morning there were some things said about the food pantry. God bless you for helping them to feed the poor of our area. And we have an increasing number of people that are needing help in this area. We know about the tents and